We are starting on page 497 and ending on 503. This is the last lesson that we're going to be working on. We're going to do activity 1 today, and then activity 2 and talk the talk the next day. And then we're done with topic 2 on module 3. So this is focusing on what's called as two-way tables or two-way frequency tables. Our learning goals is to interpret frequencies in two-way tables for bivariate categorical data. We'll talk about what that is. We're going to construct these tables, and then we're also going to interpret them. But let's get to our warm-up or a little bit of a review and answer these questions from this context. It says, Miss Snyder's math class, she noticed that she had 14 7th graders. We have 12 8th graders. And then out of the 14 7th graders, 8 of them wear either glasses or contacts. And the 12 8th graders, 5 of them either wear glasses or contacts. So we're going to answer some questions that deal with percentage. So determine the percent of students in each group of Miss Snyder's class. For A, we have 7th graders. Well, first of all, if we have 14 and 12, right, different grade levels in this class, if you add that tells us that there's a total of 26 students in this class. So in order to determine the percentage, we'll have to divide it by 26. So 7th graders, it is 14. So you'll do 14 divided by 26. Now, if you plug that into a calculator, I'll plug that off to the side, you're going to get 0.538, and then we can continue. It goes on. That's not a percent, right? That's a decimal, but we can convert this to a percent. The mechanic to convert a decimal to a percent is you move that decimal point 2 spaces to the right. So this would then equal, right, this would be 53.8, but if we round that up, this would be 50, so let's put 53.8. But if you round this to the nearest whole number, this will be just 54. So about 54% of students in Miss Snyder's class are 7th graders. All right, and let's move on. Next is students who wear either glasses or contacts. So right, we have 8 of these students that are 7th graders that wear contacts or glasses, and 5 for 8th graders. So if you add that together, 5 plus 8 is 13. And we're still going to divide that by total amount of students. So if you divide that, that is 0.5. But this as a percent, right? We move the decimal 2 to the right. We'll have to put a 0. And this tells us that this is 50%. So half the students in Miss Snyder's class wear glasses or contacts. And then finally, C, 7th grade students who wear either glasses or contacts. So 7th grade students that wear glasses or contacts, that is 8 and out of 26. Or if you plug this into your calculator, we're going to get something close to 31% of students that are 7th graders, but also the characteristic that they have some type of visual impairment. Anyways, so we're going to move on from there. We're going to get to talk the talk. And there's no wrong answers for this activity. You're going to complete this survey as I'm completing the survey. So it's would you rather questions at the beginning, and then you have some other questions after that. But go ahead and just fill this out as you would. I'm going to just kind of fill this out as you fill it out. So the first one is, would you rather be able to fly or read minds? For me, I'm going to choose this one. But you can choose whatever, right? This is up to you. Go back in time, go into the future. I'd rather go back in time. Be able to talk to animals or be able to speak all languages. I think this would be kind of nice. Which of these topics would you prefer to study? Right, math. Which of these careers would most interest you? Let's say mechanic. Which choice describes your fear of heights? I would say I'm pretty afraid of heights. Not debilitating, but we'll say mildly afraid. Okay, so you can pause that if you're still filling it out. And then for still, this next page is still on talk the talk, but we're now kind of analyzing it. For your class, do you think the data would show an association between pair of students? So, do we think that there is some type of association of a person's fear of heights and whether he or she would be able to fly or would like to be able to fly? Okay. I think probably yes. Um, there's probably some association there. Like most likely, if students chose to be able to fly, they probably would say that they have no fear of heights. Um, or if you have a fear of heights, why would you choose to fly? I don't know. B, a person's choice as a veterinarian for a career and whether he or she would like to talk to animals. Yeah, if you're a veterinarian, then right, maybe that would also affect what if you chose the ability to speak to animals rather than multiple languages. Choosing history and a way to go back in time. Yeah, so that's also a yes, right? You probably have some. We would not most likely, not every single time, but right, maybe we would see people that kind of enjoy history to want to go back in time. And number 6, describe how you could organize the survey data to determine associations between people's preferences. So, right, when we have two sets of data, we would normally graph it. It's kind of hard to graph like right these different categories. So what we were going to do is we're going to create a table. All right, we're going to tally the responses. Okay, so let's go and move on to page 500. So 500 to 503 is working on just activity 1. There will be kind of quite a bit of going back and forth. All right. So here it says, in this activity, you will create and use a special type of table to organize survey data that isn't numeric, meaning it's not numbers, right? It's not quantitative. It's what we call as qualitative or categories. So for this, Miss Carter is an athletic director at Liberty Middle School. She develops an after-school sports program, and Miss Carter has a budget to follow and needs to determine the sports she will include in the program. She surveys students in her 8th grade class to determine which students or which sports the students prefer. Right? If you're not going to have a lot of interest, we're probably not going to offer that sport or a club. So that's why schools go through this exercise. And we're asking 14 and 13-year-olds. So as you can see, right, we have a name, we have an age, and their preferred sport or activity. So before I get to that, let's go and identify the variables here. So what are things that vary? Right, things that vary are age, right? Not everyone is the same age, close to it, and favorite sport. Okay. So we'll be coming back to this and kind of crossing things off, but let's look at the next page. So it says previously you explored relationships between two variables whose data were quantitative or numeric, but not all data are numeric. You can you call data that you can group into categories, categorical or qualitative data. These mean the same thing. And one method of organizing categorical data is a two-way table. A two-way table displays categorical data that shows the number of data points that fall into each group for two variables. Just like how we have an x and y axis for two variables, we're going to have two variables here. And you divide one variable into rows and the other one into columns. So it looks like this. This is what we call as a two-way table. As you can see, we have age over here and sport over here. Okay. And you put the varying sports, right? We've got baseball, basketball, soccer, volleyball, and then you've got the varying age groups here. It looks like they've already identified which students preferred, or which 14-year-olds preferred soccer. It looks like it's 5, so we put 5 tally marks. Okay. But let's go and fill out the rest. So the 5 tally, so 14-year-olds that prefer soccer, let's cross those off. So 14-year-olds, this is one. 14-year-old in soccer, this is the second, third, fourth, and fifth. Let's go in order. So let's determine 13-year-olds that prefer baseball. So 13-year-olds for baseball. I'm going to put this in a different color. Let's put, so 13-year-old baseball, that's 1. 2. and 3. So we're going to put 3 tally marks there. 1, 2, 3. Let's go to next. 14-year-olds that prefer baseball. I don't think there's that many for 14-year-olds in baseball. Where else is baseball? Over here, Carla. All right, that's the only one though. So there's only one 14-year-old that prefers baseball. So not too much interest in baseball here. Let's go to. I'll change this to, let's say, blue. Basketball and 13-year-olds. I think there's more interest here. So this is 1. So 13-year-olds basketball, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so we'll put 5 tally marks. So you typically put 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one is the one that kind of groups it. We'll put a slash through it to indicate for every 5. Now let's do basketball and 14-year-olds. Basketball and 14. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you're welcome to pause the video or skip the video if you think like you can count this out. So you're welcome to do that. Let's do the next one in purple. So soccer and 13-year-olds. We already have soccer and 14-year-olds, so soccer and 13. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, let's go to volleyball. We'll change the color to orange. Volleyball and 13-year-olds. There's not too many. Volleyball and 13. So this is 1 and 2. All right, and the remaining one should be volleyball and 14-year-olds. So volleyball and 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So a lot of interest for 14-year-olds and for volleyball. So we'll put 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th one groups it, and then the 6th one goes down here. Okay, so we pretty much have everything already accounted there. Here, how many total students do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I think the other one's the same amount. So 15, there'll be 30 students. Okay. All right, so to complete the two-way table and the worked example, we just did that. Let's move on to the next page, but we're going to be referring to that. So it says, once you have recorded all the data with tally marks, you can count the tally marks in each cell of the two-way table. Then you can write the frequency for each variable. The frequency, key vocabulary term here, of a variable is the number of times it appears in the data set. So like how many times did 13-year-olds appear that preferred baseball, right? That frequency is 3. Right, so we have that because we have 3 tally marks. But let's go and put the rest of them. So this is 1, 5, and 4. 1, 5, 4. And then for soccer, volleyball, it was 4, 5, 2, 6. 4, 5, 2, 6. All right, then it says calculate the totals. Right, the totals here, so for baseball right here, we would add 3 and 1, so that equals 4. We would add 5 and 4, which equals 9. And we would add 4 and 5, another 9, 2 and 6, at 8. And let's also go laterally for the total for 13-year-olds. So 3 plus 5 plus 4 plus 2. So 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. And then now for 14-year-olds, total 14-year-olds here, 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 5 is 10, plus 6 is 16. All right, and what should happen is the sum of these 4 numbers should equal the sum of these 2 numbers. So if you add this all together, right, this gives us the total amount of students that are in Miss Carter's class. It is 30, right? 14 plus 16 is 30, and 4 plus 9 is 13, plus 9 is 22, plus 8 is 30. You do not add all 6 of these margin numbers. Just know that they should equal each other. Okay. All right. So for number 4, add the total of 13 and 14-year-olds and add the preferred sports. What does this tell you? It tells you that there are 30 total students. Students who, right, so there are 13, 14, there's 30, 13 and 14-year-olds, and there's 30 students who prefer the 4 different sports. The 2 totals are the same. Okay. So which sport is the least favorite, most favorite for each category? So for all students, it looks like baseball is the least favorite. So let's put baseball is least. And like maybe you like baseball, this is just some random data set. Which one is the most favorite? So which one has the highest here? That is 9 and 9. So basketball and soccer. We'll put basketball / soccer. Is the most. Okay. And so these are the grand totals, but now we're gonna hyper focus on the varying age groups. So now 13-year-olds. So which one? Actually, let's do it like this. Let's put least and most for both of them. But we're just gonna focus on 13-year-olds right now. All right, so 13-year-olds, which is the least and which is the most. So if we look at 13-year-olds here, so this row right here, which one is the smallest one? It looks like volleyball is the least and the most is basketball. Okay. So volleyball not really popular with the 13-year-olds, but basketball is. And then now 14-year-olds. Looks like least popular is baseball and most popular is volleyball. All right, baseball and volleyball. I'll just put base and I'll put volley. Saving some valuable time there. Okay, and then we'll answer some additional questions here. So on the next page of 503, the last page here, we're now doing some analysis. So it's important to organize the data, but it's also important to interpret and analyze that data. Otherwise, you're not really, you're not doing anything with that data. So number 6, according to the survey, which sports should Miss Carter not include in the after-school program? So probably the one that is the least favorite. So when you look at total for least favorite, we should not include baseball. Right, there just wasn't that much interest. It appears that it's the least popular sport. Okay. And number 7, what other conclusions can you draw about the favorite sports of students in Miss Carter's 8th grade class? So we know that 14-year-olds, we'll say 14-year-olds, they prefer volleyball. Right, it was their favorite. Than the 13-year-olds did. Right, volleyball was the least favorite. And then from there, it looked like there was a split between 2 different sports. That was basketball and soccer. So we'll put basketball / soccer is pretty, we'll just say we're evenly split, right, between the 13 and 14-year-olds. Okay. Number 8, it says construct a two-way frequency table to compare the fears of heights reported by students in your class who choose the ability to fly versus the students who chose the ability to read. That we're going to forego. So with this, we'll move on. So we'll most likely just work on Mathia, but that's going to be it for our book for now.